Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigations is working the missing persons case of Peggy McGuire.
From everything you've gathered and know of this case, do you think it's a random act of violence or related?
I don't think that it would be a random act of violence.
Peggy's family and friends agree. They say they believe Peggy's ex-boyfriend, Thomas McIntosh, killed her.
Do you think he was involved in some way?
Yes.
Why?
Because I know how he was. I've heard his threats. He's broke her nose. He's done so much to her. She was dating. He didn't want another man to be around his son.
Is he a person of interest, Thomas McIntosh?
Everybody's a person of interest in this case until Peggy McGuire is found.
And when Oklahoma State investigators hear about a strange sighting, a neighbor allegedly sees McIntosh driving a tractor with a bucket high in the air, theoretically carrying Peggy's body. They check it out.
Did you interview that neighbor?
I did talk to that neighbor, and what I can say is they saw a tractor that was going down the road that they thought belonged to Peggy and Thomas. So, of course, we did take that into account and searched it.
During OSBI's search of the tractor, they find small amounts of what could have been either blood or rust in the bucket. Hard to tell because of time, weather, and where. OSBI also conducts many other searches.
We ran search warrants on the house and vehicles, and we had drones that came down, and Oklahoma Highway Patrol brought their helicopters down to do a search of the area. We did bring cadaver dogs down, and we probably searched over 80 acres.
In the house Peggy and McIntosh shared, investigators find some trace amounts of blood in a few locations, on a sofa, on a pair of rubber gloves, and a utility pail. But the samples are so degraded, they are unable to determine if it was human blood, much less Peggy's.
The family feels the Sheriff's Department was a little relaxed in their efforts to do anything within the first few weeks, such as searching the home. According to them, the house had been cleaned thoroughly by that time.
We would like to get involved a little bit earlier. Time is always of the essence.
But there's one person who says all the time in the world can't prove Thomas McIntosh had anything to do with Peggy's disappearance. His attorney, Keith McCarty, who agreed to address the accusations and evidence.
They could find absolutely no evidence that Peggy was harmed or that she was murdered.
McCarty claims that tractor story has a timeline problem.
That would have been the day before. He was moving some hay to prepare for the rains to come. That was on Sunday. So if the neighbor says that was on Monday or Tuesday, that's just incorrect.
And he paints a very different picture of Peggy and Thomas's relationship, which changed significantly from their early high school sweetheart days.
Peggy would be gone on periodic occasion, and Thomas suspicioned that she was having relationships, but he wasn't sure. But he wanted them to stay together, primarily for Ethan. But they were still living in Thomas's house. They were still together.
McCarty admitted Peggy's other relationships might have upset Thomas. Then we asked about allegations of domestic violence.
Yeah, it's a nice narrative. Unfortunately, the facts just don't corroborate it. There was an incident. I think he was arrested on some allegation of domestic violence. The case was eventually dropped.
McCarty says even family stories about McIntosh breaking Peggy's nose in high school are unprovable.
Have you seen any medical records about it? Well, there aren't any. These are kind of small-town legends, all right, that develop. And a lot of them develop after someone disappears.
Crime Watch Daily could not obtain Peggy's medical records for the incident, but speaking of the missing persons case, we asked about the video of the unknown person dropping off Peggy's truck.
There's absolutely no way to identify who is in that hoodie. There's no face that is identifiable. When you look at that video, you could also say that that was Peggy.
It turns out Special Agent Jenny Virden and McCarty both say McIntosh's cell phone pings don't yield evidence, as he could have been at his nearby grandma's house. And investigators were not able to corroborate the story of little Ethan's father driving him past Peggy's truck, saying she had run off with another man.
Ethan never disclosed a comment like that to anybody from the Department of Human Services. Never disclosed a comment like that to his attorney in the case. Never disclosed a comment like that to the guardian ad litem in the case.
Bottom line for McCarty is the investigation has yielded no evidence.
I know that there are people down there who are hell-bent for Thomas to be charged. There's not enough evidence to prove a murder case beyond a reasonable doubt, and they would be charging an innocent man.
Despite accusations to the contrary, McCarty says Thomas McIntosh has helped in the search for Peggy and cooperated in the investigation.
He helped with the OSBI. I mean, he made everything available to them to look at. He spoke with them on numerous occasions. He did some of his own work to try to find out where she was. I mean, he did what he could.
Have you talked to Thomas McIntosh?
I have not personally talked to Thomas, but we do have someone that has talked to Thomas, and he said that the last time he saw her that she was leaving to take Ethan to school.
It's now been 2.5 years, and the Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigations is not giving up.
It is a suspicious missing persons. However, we do not think she is still alive.
Do you think it'll ever be solved?
I hope so.
She left her little cows and her dogs.
Until then, the family waits, hopes, and prays Peggy is soon found. Their only chance for closure.
Sometimes I feel like giving up. She was my rock.
Are you able to think about the good memories?
All the time, it's all I got, isn't it? You can't take them.
Would you say to him, he's going to watch this?
He knows where she's at. He knows what he did. I know that he has demons.
There's a $150,000 reward for information that leads to the missing mother. If you know anything, you can submit a tip to the Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigation at 1-800-522-8017. I'm Chris Hansen. If you like this story, make sure you tune in every day to Crime Watch Daily. You can find where the show airs in your city at crimewatchdaily.com. Watch it live or record it on your DVR and watch it at night. And to all those criminals out there, remember, we are watching.